All week long you've waited, and now it's time for Kickoff. Fighting Chance Kickoff. Starts and sits, injuries, weather, and the latest news. No hot takes, no BS, just the information you need to crush your competition. It's Fighting Chance Kickoff with Kevin Tompkins and Gary Haddow.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome into Fighting Chance Kickoff for Week 11. I am Kevin Tompkins of FightingChanceFantasy.com, and to my right. It is what it is.
Kevin just woke up.
I did. I totally just woke up. Of FightingChanceFantasy.com, I'm Kevin Tompkins. Also of FightingChanceFantasy.com, Gary Haddow. Gary, my friend, how are you this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. Always excited to be here, answer some questions. I've had a lot of people reach out saying that there hopefully will be quite a few questions here. We can help some folks out. And I do have to say, just going before we jump into everything, you know, I've been doing all these lineups and I talk to my wife about them a lot more now, and she's on board. And she finally said, I'm gonna submit a lineup. So I gave her my phone last night, and she picks all of her players based off of attractiveness. So she does have a dollar GPP lineup. So hopefully we'll be the big winners off of my wife's view of people's smiles.
Oh, man, I can't wait to see. You better be posting this lineup. That's all I'm going to say.
I did, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So I can't wait to check that out in a little bit here. But let's get into some of the injuries, which there really isn't a lot, you know, this week compared to most weeks. So that'll condense that and leave a lot more time for your start sit questions. Again, we will take them live. If you want to send them over to us in the chat, that'd be great. Or at KTompkinsII on Twitter, at Gary Haddow1. Gary, let's get into the injuries. And right now, the big one is for New Orleans with Drew Brees going on IR with reportedly 11 rib fractures, which apparently he is Mr. Glass from the Unbreakable series. That's the only way I can put that. So the ever mercurial Taysom Hill reportedly will get to start. Jameis Winston, we don't know. We don't know until they play this game. So how are you approaching the Taysom Hill factor, if you will?
Really only putting Hill in GPP stuff. I'm not going to be using him in regular season or season long, whatever. I can see a world where like you have bye weeks and injuries. Like I have a dynasty team that I think has 8 players on IR right now. It's just, you know, situations come up, but I'm going to do everything I can to avoid it. You know, even though it is a solid matchup, I do not believe that Winston is not going to play this game. We've never seen Hill play an entire game before. And like, it'll be fun to see. I think all eyes are on that for fantasy purposes and for just to see what happens with Hill and Winston. But if Hill plays the entire game, that is a terrible indictment of what they actually think of Jameis Winston. Plus they signed Trevor Siemian, I think, to their practice squad, probably just as, you know, a reserve or whatever. But I don't know. It's a weird situation, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely weird. And I would chalk that up to a lot of playing the cards close to the vest with Jameis Winston. I can't imagine him not being involved, but they also did pay Taysom Hill $21 million. So that could be another thing. And then there's a lot of incentives with Jameis Winston contractually as well. So, you know, it's a really tough situation, but I'm playing him in Dynasty second quarterback leagues. That's about it for me. I'm not going to go through. I think Yahoo is one of the only platforms that has him as tight end. And, you know, you can say what you want going back and forth about how, you know, if the platform lets you do it, then you can do it and not, you know, feel like you're cheating the system or whatever. That's a whole nother conversation. But Taysom Hill, I'm just not sure. Just the range of outcomes is so large that it's really hard for me to put him in my lineup anywhere except if I really need to put him in my lineup if I don't have another quarterback.
Yep, completely.
So we'll see what happens with that there. And then we'll also go over to Detroit, where they are missing a lot of talented skill position players, namely to Kenny Galladay and DeAndre Swift, who did not clear concussion protocol. So right now we're looking at the Dusty veterans, Adrian Peterson and I say Dusty. Kerryon Johnson's 24 years old. But, you know, It's Kerryon Johnson and Adrian Peterson. So it's weird because Adrian Peterson, when he is playing, when he's going to get, 15 to 20 carries, he's been solid. I don't care how old he is. So is that a spot where you're going to play him as a low end running back too?
Yeah, I am. I just think that he has a nice floor, and they're going to give him the touches. He's somebody that I'm almost kind of set and forget. I know that it doesn't work that way because he's so far down that you're deciding. Somebody asked me like Brandon Cooks or Adrian Peterson, and I actually said Adrian Peterson. But if you think that you're going to be a huge underdog, go with Brandon Cooks just in the event. But there's no chance that AP is going to get you a 0.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's pretty safe as far as what you're going to get out of him. You just know you're never getting anything from him out of the passing game. So, that's probably where Kerryon Johnson is going to get involved today.
Yeah.
So, it stinks to lose a guy like DeAndre Swift, who had a great game, a coming out game last week as an RB1 candidate. But now we have to put him on the back burner, at least for this week, and hopefully he can clear concussion protocol for next week. And that is that. They have a great matchup against Carolina, especially with the run game. Going over to a couple more injuries here. Joe Mixon, hoping to get him back this week, still out with a foot injury, so more Gio Bernard time as a low-end RB2. They are going up against Washington, who has a great front line, but I think Gio Bernard is still, seeing as he's getting the passing, a bit of the passing work, an RB2 as well, but the only thing is he's looking in the rearview mirror of Samaje Perine and Travion Williams, who did siphon off a few touches. So maybe the floor lowers a little bit for him, but I still like him as an RB2 this week.
And I completely agree that I'm trying to not touch Gio unless I have to. I'm not putting him into any DFS lineups just because I think the Perine Williams is gonna siphon off enough to make him less relevant. But he on the contrarian side of that, he's had 2 tough matchups in a row. So there's something to be said that maybe he is the contrarian play.
Yeah, absolutely. And then going over to Carolina, Christian McCaffrey, who we got back, and we were all ready to see Christian McCaffrey smash for the second half. In the words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend, because we do have Mike Davis coming back. Christian McCaffrey with a shoulder injury this time. We'll see it's a week-to-week injury per Matt Rule. So Mike Davis will get that start. He's back to being a solid RB2 for the time being.
Yep, completely.
Yep. And then Laviska Shenault with a hamstring. So we've seen Keelan Cole blow up a couple weeks ago. He's going to get more of a bump there. Chris Conley gets a bump as well. They are going up against Pittsburgh, so that's going to be tough sledding for highfalutin Jake Luton in that offense. Gardner Minshew is questionable as well. Likely he doesn't go, but we've seen teams do crazy things in the past, but I'm expecting Jake Luton to play here over Minshew. I don't think Minshew is going to come back. If he does, I don't think it's going to be this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I agree. It makes no sense. It's a lost game for all intents and purposes already. So
yeah, there's throwing him into the fire, and then there's that. So, and other than that, one late game note for Sunday night, Sammy Watkins, who we also thought we were going to get back. Apparently, don't pin your hopes up against any of these guys coming back, and getting back in their roles like Mixon and McCaffrey, and now Watkins with that calf and hamstring. So right now, the same song and dance you've been doing. Mecole Hardman is off the COVID list, so now we've got him and Demarcus Robinson in that big glut of if you want a piece of the Kansas City offense, you don't want to pay up for it, and you want to throw one in a GPP, take your pick, take one out of a hat. It's pretty much a coin flip. It could be a Byron Pringle week for all we know. Who knows? Anybody outside of the big guns, you're really just rolling that dodecahedron.
Yep, completely.
And I remembered that word from Wednesday, by the way. Other than that, we have some questionable tags here. Devontae Adams with an ankle in the late game. Allen Lazard is he's questionable, but a very downside questionable, not likely to go. Devontae Adams should be able to go, barring anything pregame. And then over to Carolina, Teddy Bridgewater wants to play. They said he's going to test his knee in warmups, but it's not looking that great. I think they're going to go with PJ Walker here to be on the safe side and kind of not let Teddy get his, what do I even want to say here? Just I know a guy wants to play. When you want to play, you want to play. But I think they got to look out for Teddy's best interest here and go with PJ Walker, the XFL hero.
Yeah, I don't have any idea what the upside is to be playing Teddy in this matchup. Like, see what you have in PJ Walker to be able to understand, even if Matt Rule does know him from college. And what happens if you put in Teddy? His knee isn't great. He's obviously had a knee issue in the past, and I don't know. It's just really confusing to me. I actually just kind of want to stay away from that entire offense, even though it is a solid matchup against Detroit. Mike Davis, as you said, he was an RB2, but like he hasn't gone over 100 total scrimmage yards for quite a few weeks. He's very touchdown dependent. DJ Moore is big play dependent. Robbie Anderson started out rocket like fuel, and he's now almost like a PPR guy that doesn't get touchdowns and gets you a solid like PPR baseline with some yardage. But I don't know. It's just a really confusing situation.
Yeah, for sure. And to be fair, that knee that he did hurt, it's not the same knee that he pretty much shredded a few years ago. So a separate issue from that, but still certainly worth monitoring. Likely he doesn't go, but he's going to try to test it out. And then also for New England, Damian Harris and N'Keal Harry with an ankle injury for Harris and also a shoulder injury for N'Keal Harry. So Damian Harris is somebody to look for. Sony Michel came off of IR, so that might muddy things a little bit, but I still do like Damian Harris. And there's a spirited discussion that actually woke me up this morning regarding Damian Harris and Pro Football Focus's Dwayne McFarland, us going back and forth on not so much me, but definitely him, about Damian Harris and his RB2 viability. So I'm going to put you, Gary, on the spot. Where are you on Damian Harris, knowing Sony Michel is back and that they happen to play for the New England Patriots, it's hard to trust week to week with their running backs?
I've always liked Damian Harris. Always thought that he probably doesn't get as much respect as he should. I wish he did catch some more balls and whatnot, but this is a solid matchup. They always play each other pretty tough, I feel like, when it comes to the Patriots and the Texans. So I'm okay putting Harris in. I'm not going to force him. I think that Sony Michel sucks. I think Damian Harris is far better. So the only thing that concerns me is, will they put Sony in goal line situations? And then you have to worry about Burkhead also, who had a really good week last week, even off of weird fluky plays, but they're still trying to get him involved. So I will start him as an RB3 as a flex, but I'm not going to be putting him in as an RB2 unless I just happen to have to do it.
I hear you. I'm still a big fan of Damian Harris. I think he's been running really well. He's been running against the most heavy boxes in the NFL and still putting up big time yardage. He's running on a heavy box about 40-something% of the time, which is really the defense against Cam Newton. And not giving any respect to that passing game, though. With Jacoby Myers doing what he's been doing, I think you have to give a little bit more respect to that passing game now. That passing game, i.e., one person, which is basically what it's been. But I do like Damian Harris here, and I do think Sony Michel is dust. His knee is bone on bone, is certainly producing a lot of dust with that knee. So we will see what happens today. It's really. You have to be Miss Cleo, and I think even that's a stretch to be able to try to decipher this backfield week to week. But Damian Harris has looked fantastic, for the last month or so. So I don't think you're going to go away from that anytime soon. That's the thing. We don't know what's going to happen. So that's pretty much where we're at here. Yep. And then also one more doubtful is Sam Darnold, likely just to see some more Joe Flacco today. Don't think there's really much discussion on that, except if you have him in a 2-quarterback league and you're up against the wall and you don't maybe have Josh Allen or you don't have, any of the other quarterbacks on bye. I can think of worse starts, I suppose, than Joe Flacco. Like, most people. So, and then a weather note today. There's really only one, but it's from the same city we've had last week and week 8. It's in Cleveland, who can't get out of their own way with bad weather. There's not a lot of wind. There's probably 10 to 15 miles an hour of wind on the forecast today, but it's going to rain all day. So that's going to probably limit some of the passing game work. It's going to rain all day. It's going to factor in the run big time today. So Miles Sanders, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, all on board today.
Yep, completely. That rush game is going to be very, very, very interesting. Man, I was wondering, I even just private chatted you being like, oh, what's going on with the comments? Like, it's rare that we're this far in and we don't have any comments. And then all of a sudden, as I type that, 3 of them show up at the exact same time. So
they bottlenecked. I saw that too.
I even messaged my buddy because he was like, I got a bunch of questions. And I was like, have you asked the question? I'm worried that like our chat box isn't working. So here we go. Let's jump into questions. If I can be so bold.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's get over to your buddy Kevin Chubb. No relation to Nick. Herbert, Rodgers, or Stafford. Pick one.
Definitely not Stafford. He's not even a question. With that thumb, I have no idea what the hell is going to happen there. Rodgers has a tough matchup. Herbert's on fire. He has a great matchup with, at best, his running back is former kind of Jet Kalen Ballage. So I'm all about Justin Herbert.
No shower narratives here for this matchup or for any of these matchups. Justin Herbert all day. Ride the hot hand. The man on fire right now.
Yep.
Our good friend Fred Stone Flint _Flint PPR need 3. Michael Thomas, DJ Chark, Claypool, and Mike Williams.
I think we probably agree that who we're sitting here.
I'm
sitting DJ.
Gotta say Chark. Yeah. Okay.
The matchup, Luton, all that stuff. And Mike Williams has a solid matchup, so does Claypool. Even Michael Thomas, I mean, just because he doesn't have Drew Brees doesn't mean he's still not Michael frickin' Thomas.
Yeah, true story. So we're sitting Chark here. Right? That's pretty unanimous here. Bash Brother, appreciate you checking out. Fighting Chits, Kickoff, my friend. Standard League, need 1. Chark, Crowder, or Nyheim Hines.
Standard League, I'm going to still go Crowder. I think on the flip side, we like Herbert. We have Flacco who's willing to throw the ball, and Crowder seems to be their number 1. Maybe their 1A to Perriman's 1B, but Crowder has a nice floor. Nyheim Hines, if you really need like a deep play, then deep's the wrong word. An explosive play that could also get you 2 points.
Nyheim Hines just has just a gigantic range of outcomes, so that's somebody I'm not really trusting. Jameson Crowder, though, even though he's labeled as that PPR guy, he does have a pretty high floor as far as yardage goes, and the Chargers secondary has not been great the last month or so. So they've lost already. I think it's just Chris Harris they have left now. Am I correct? Desmond King's gone to Tennessee. They have I think Harris is on IR. It's Casey Hayward who they still have left.
So Rappaport is just said he thinks that Hines is going to get the bulk of the carries. I don't know if that changes anything for me. It probably would, like if I knew he was getting them because of that offensive line and Hines' skill set. Man, what the hell does this say about Jonathan Taylor? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, breaking news. It's really tough for that Colts backfield. I mean, good luck deciphering that. If you have him in Dynasty, you're sweating bullets right now. I mean, you're having redraft or sweating bullets too. I think I had maybe 1 share of him, and I don't know what to do with him. I mean, I have to start him in a couple weeks. So
traded 2 first-round picks to move up to get him.
Oh, boy,
bullshit.
Exactly.
We'll move on.
We're going with Crowder here. And then Jonnu or Hoop in a monsoon.
Jonnu, if this was a clear game in Cleveland, I would probably I think that Hooper is due, and he's shown what he could do earlier in the season. But right now, Jonnu is the number 2 target on that offense, even if he's the number 3 kind of option behind Henry and AJ Brown. And I actually expect Baltimore to have a bounce back game here because the Titans defense, they have guys on IR and like Jadeveon Clowney, not that he's been playing amazing. I just think that Baltimore's going to have a get right game, and Titans are going to have to come back over the top to try and keep it competitive.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jono here. I just think the floor is higher, the ceiling's higher versus Hoop and that monsoon. We haven't seen, any of those weather games in Cleveland. We haven't seen any upside out of the Cleveland passing game. I wrote about Jarvis Landry in my start, sits, and sleepers, where, you just have to fade everybody at this point and hope, if you have to start them, hope somebody falls into the end zone. That's pretty much it. But they really haven't scored. I think they've scored 6 points, 7 points in the last 2 games where weather has been a factor for Cleveland. So tough to trust.
Yeah.
Arctic Orange, half PPR, Mike Davis, Gio Bernard, and Duke Johnson. Pick 2.
It's so crazy just how these 3 are all on the same page. And I think that if you asked 100 people, you would get like a third in terms of who to bench here. I just answered this for a different question on Twitter when it came to Mike Davis. And I think that if Teddy plays, I'm for sure starting Mike Davis. I'm actually going to bench Mike Davis if PJ Walker starts. I think that a lot of people will disagree with that because he was so good. He has not been anywhere near as good as we thought he was the last few weeks. That does have CMC, as Kevin said earlier, back, but he's touchdown dependent. And I would rather go with Bernard, who's probably also touchdown dependent, but I think he's more integrated into the offense. And Duke Johnson probably is just a floor play for touch, just because he's going to get touches, and the last 2 weeks don't really count, or last week doesn't count because of the weather.
Geez, it is tough, especially with these 3. You're pretty much picking, 2 out of the barrel, the bottom of the RB2 landscape. Yeah. I'm going to go with Davis and Duke Johnson here. Honestly, I think Duke is. I think he's going to bounce back a little bit. I think he's, has probably the lowest ceiling, but I think he has the highest floor, dare I say, against the Patriots. So it's in the Mike Davis. I think PJ Walker, he intrigues me, and I think he can add something to that offense. And I think Rule is going to know what to do if he does play to get the best out of him. So Mike Davis is still going to be a bigger part of that. So I'm going to go with Davis and Duke Johnson. But you're exactly right. You give 100 people this question, and it's probably split 3 ways.
I'm changing my answer. I would bench Duke. I don't trust him.
Yeah, after last week, I really shouldn't either. But here we are. All right. Bash Brother, Dallas Goddard, Happy PR, Dallas Goddard, Noah Fant, or Logan Thomas.
I think we're going to agree here that we would go Noah Fant.
We're not going Noah Thomas, but we will go Noah Fant.
Yeah.
I like Noah Fant. Yeah, Miami's been playing a lot better, but I think Noah Fant, the DGAF, Denver Broncos, and Drew Lock. I think he's going to be a big part of that outside of it's the number 2 target outside of Judy. We got an IDP question. We don't get those very often, but Devin White, Harrison Smith, or DeForest Buckner for IDP. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, the difficulty with these, we're going to have to assume. Yeah, scoring. So if it's a point per tackle and it's 2 points per sack, I'm actually going to go with Harrison Smith just because he has some interception upside, some sack upside, but he'll also be able to get a lot of those rushes that'll probably come through Zeke. DeForest Buckner, as much as I like him, he usually has a capped ceiling in IDP as someone that has Harrison Smith and DeForest Buckner on my IDP dynasty team. So,
yeah, if it's tackle heavy, I guess I think I'd go Harrison Smith here too. Yeah. I'm in one with passes defended as a stat too, and so I would go with Harrison Smith there. I always like playing the safeties, especially the ones that do play in the box. What you drinking over there, Gary?
So I was at Total Wine, like they do tasters. I don't know if they do that in other states, but I like seltzer, and someone was like, "Hey, do you want to taste this?" And it is a wine-based seltzer. So it's called Three Birds. I liked it there. I really don't like the lime, which is one of the flavors, but it's cucumber basil, which I don't like. There's a mango raspberry. I like them both. And then there's a lime that's also in there, which I thought I liked more at the store. But I really like seltzers for Sundays because I don't get too drunk and it allows me to drink a little bit throughout the day. And we can move on.
I love it. I'm sorry. I'm drinking out of the Tropicana collection. So. Yeah. My morning OJ every morning, pump that in my veins. Let me, yeah, and that was actually the question. I did not see that. So,
Oh, you didn't?
No, that's really funny. I did not see that, or maybe I saw that and my mind was like subliminally doing whatever. We'll go back over to PPR for Fredstone Flint, Duke, Fournette, Zeke, Hines, need two. How the mighty have fallen, Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, I mean, Zeke's 100% one of the answers. Dalton's back. There's a concern. I can't remember if their center is out for the season or if he's back now. Do you remember for the Cowboys? But
is that
I'm blanking on his name right now.
Biotish or whatever?
I can't remember. Unfortunately, too much wine seltzer. But Zeke, I'm gonna put in there, and then I mean, to me, it's a debate between Duke and Hines. Rojo looked good last week. When you fumble and Bruce Arians doesn't take you out of the game, that makes me feel like they're gonna keep doing just a full split. So it's between Duke and Hines. Whoever I would flip a coin there.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, if you want to go high variance and hope you hit that big week, you're going Nyheim Hines. I think you'll still have a floor with Duke Johnson, just based on who else is going to take those touches from him. So, I mean, yeah.
I have a game script kind of question, and that's if Jair Alexander is on Michael Pittman, then the second option is T.Y. Hilton, who we know does not have a rapport with Rivers. Hines does, and then we have this weird split across the tight ends with Jack Doyle going to be playing, so there's 3 tight ends. It actually feeds into my head that Hines will be more integrated in this type of game against, a very high-octane offense.
Yeah, and I will say, too, for Hines' credit, that Green Bay does not defend the running back out of the backfield very well either. So that might be a spot where Nyheim Hines could certainly take advantage. We'll see about that. But, yeah, Jair Alexander is on the good side of getting to play today. We'll see for sure, but I think he's a go today. So that'll definitely lower the stock of Michael Pittman. Leo, good morning, my man. Our Leo Grandio, also fightingchancefantasy.com. He's got a lot of articles. His survivor pool, go check that out. Or waiver column every week. He is part of that too. So go check out fightingchancefantasy.com. A lot of great stuff from a lot of great writers, including our good friend Leo Grandio here. Go ahead.
Real quick. And Leo is currently number 20 ranked in SFBX. So that's insane. That's out of 1,440 teams. So awesome job there, Leo. And also Teddy Bridgewater is active, but so are all 3 quarterbacks.
Ooh, that could, that lowers the floor. I'm gonna have to adjust Teddy Bridgewater here. So, Gary, are you telling me you're having a little trouble defending that Scott Fishbowl crown this year?
Oh yeah, I'm not doing well. Ironically, my dad texts me or calls me every week to tell me where I'm at in Scott Fish, whereas last year he didn't even know what it was, even as I was talking about it weekly, and now I'm shitting the bed, and I might squeak in these last 2 weeks. I could squeak into playoffs, at which point, who knows? But CMC and I are, not friends right now.
Yeah, I hear you. He's done that for a lot of people. But let's get back into the questions here. Axel Jansen, our good friend every week. Austin Hooper, T.J. Hawkinson for tight end 1 PPR.
Hawkinson, he's in a dome.
Yep, and with Galladay out, it's going to funnel over to Marvin Jones, T.J. Hawkinson. So I like Hawk here. Aaron Martinez, who do I start? Need 1 half PPR. DJ Moore, Antonio Brown, Bobby Trees.
I think we're both going to agree here on Bobby Trees. I don't know what I can trust out of DJ Moore, but it would probably go Woods, Moore, AB for me, because although AB has a little bit of upside, but I think this is going to be a Chris Godwin game with Ramsey on Evans. So I flip a coin between DJ Moore and Robert Woods. At least DJ Moore is a better matchup, but Woods, I just trust more.
Don't look at that jersey back there. That is a Robert Woods jersey. I would actually go Antonio Brown here. Just have a feeling that this is going to be a game where, you got Jalen Ramsey on. Mike Evans, he might slide over a little bit, but I think Antonio Brown, this is going to be the game where he paces the Buccaneers in receiving. He's been there for a couple weeks now. This is his, he's starting to get right. He's starting to get more involved in the offense and more into that playbook. So I think Antonio Brown this week, I think he's a really good play. I like him over Woods. I think, let me take a look here. I have Woods 28, wide receiver 28. I have Brown at just at the fringe of wide receiver 2 at wide receiver 24. So I like him as a wide receiver 2 this week.
Okay.
Yeah. Fred Stone Flint, tough one here. Chase Claypool, McLaurin, duh. I think it's a nod to me, and I like that. Tyler Boyd and Chris Godwin need 3. I think we can lock in McLaurin here as a no-brainer. I'd say Godwin too, right?
Yeah, I agree. Now it just becomes a matter of how much do you buy into Boyd having that really tough slot matchup against Washington versus Claypool. I'm going to go ahead and go with Claypool. I want to see them manufacture more touches for him. Right now, he's leading the rookies in touchdowns, and I think they just continue to try and get him involved or further involved.
Jeez, I mean, Tyler Boyd just has a gigantic floor, and he's almost matchup independent in the slot. It seems like. I mean, he just racks up volume week in, week out, even with, T. Higgins on the other side there, or, on the outside, I should say.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd here. I mean,
okay.
We've been riding that 3 touchdown game from Claypool, though he has gotten, a lot of receptions, a lot of yards. He's been a solid start each week. I mean, it's a great problem to have. Don't get me wrong.
Dude, we talked about this before. We're not riding a 3 touchdown game. He has been awesome almost every game with, I think, 1 dud.
Let me take a look here. Let me look at it. It's funny because I think I have Boyd over Claypool in my rankings.
Not to say that you're wrong about the Boyd thing.
No, he had
Claypool comes from nowhere.
He had 2 touchdowns last. He was wide receiver 5, so I'll take that back a little bit. But he's had 9, 13, and 10 targets.
Yeah. So go with McLaurin, Boyd, and Godwin. I think that those are nice, safe, high upside with high floor plays, all 3 of them. Claypool does have the lowest floor.
Yeah, but Claypool's a great start. I mean, Gary took me to the woodshed, not gonna lie. Let's see. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks to a follow back on Twitter. Gary, welcome, there you go. There you go. Is Dez relevant?
No, I mean, they activated him from the practice squad before and they did nothing with him. He's worth it if you have like a bottom of the roster spot. I think I did that in Kevin and I's in Chubb and I's league, and then he did nothing. So I was just like, nope, just throwing him back. So
yeah, I'm not wasting a roster spot on Des Bryant unless he does something on the field to warrant that. I mean, right now he's just a name that he's almost like a landmine on waiver wire. I mean, yeah. Axel Jansen, James Conner, Antonio Gibson, Mike Davis for RB3.
I think most people like Connor here, but Antonio Gibson he's awesome. I love him. I think he might be my most started DFS player this week. And I have about 20 plus lineups right now.
I'm fully with you on Antonio Gibson. I mean, I talked about we talked about James Conner last week, on Wednesday, with Sam Perviti and Ryan Hallam on Fighting Chance Live. I mean, James Conner, when can you trust him in a smash spot? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he just has such a. And the Steelers are going away from running the ball to solve out these games. They're throwing out empty sets. They're throwing out all this stuff with their 4 awesome wide receivers and then throwing Connor in the slot and they're just not throwing to him. I mean, it's tough, but James Conner is really just a touchdown dependent, a lower touch floor, than we've been accustomed to running back 2.
I completely agree. So I'm just cautious with Connor, but Gibson can do everything Connor can and do it better. But breaking news. So right now, Jay Glazer is reporting that Teddy will not play, while Rap Sheet was the one that said he would play. I personally don't like Ian Rappaport for some strange reason. And in addition to that, I don't know who's reporting this, but it looks like Sony won't play and it'll be the Damian Harris show. So I think that answers a lot of the Damian Harris questions if Sony is not there. And the Panthers, Shefty is saying that Teddy is not playing. So it's officially PJ Walker season, or maybe Will Grier.
Oh boy, I hope it's not Will Grier, but we'll see about that. Yeah, that's really funny when you get those dueling account, Glazer and Schefter and Rappaport always wanting to be the first to get stuff out there, and then Oh man, it's almost better than some of the games each week. But
Yep.
yeah. So Damian Harris, I mean, you know what that means, right? That's 20 carries for Brandon Bolden today. Or somebody else.
Right.
Like
it will be.
Rex Burkhead.
It actually makes me want to put Rex Burkhead in like a random DFS spot.
Well, he's going to get the passing game work, so I don't mind him as an RB3.
Yeah.
I have him in a couple spots. He always seems to find his way. I mean, geez, I remember he was with Cincinnati and couldn't get on the field with Gio Bernard and Jeremy Hill. Remember that?
There. Yeah, before he went to Buffalo.
Oh.
He went to Buffalo and then he went to the Patriots. Yeah, Burkhead.
I didn't know he was on Buffalo.
Am I
Interesting.
wrong?
I don't know.
Well, let's answer your question. I'll look real quick. I'm pretty positive that they took him from Buffalo and they traded a pick to get him.
To the Google machine. Before we do that, I'll reel off this question from Arctic Orange. Duke Johnson or league winner? You don't have to put that in quotes. He's a damn league winner. Jacoby Myers in the flex spot, half PPR and standard.
Jacoby Myers. I'm more than comfortable going with that. And I was wrong about Burkhead. Who the hell am I thinking of? Somebody remind me of that. There's a running back that was taken from them. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers.
Yep, me too. My love for Jacoby Myers knows no bounds, at least in the last couple of weeks. So, Mike Gesicki or Jonnu Smith for tight end 1 in standard.
Mike Gesicki or
I'm going with Jonnu here.
I'm going to go with Jonnu, yeah.
Yeah, just Mike Gesicki. Can you just, Chan Gailey, I should say, can you just return Mike Gesicki to prominence, please?
Right.
I mean, that's pretty much what we're hoping for. Just put him in the slot. That's all we ask. He'll make it happen. Leo in with Damian Harris, Michael Pittman, Curtis Samuel need one. We'll start with that, and then I'll go with the second part there. But it's PPR.
I'm going to go with Harris for the floor. I love all three of these guys. You're just reminding me that I tend to be building lineups as we're doing the show because after this, like I have to watch my kid for the next hour until football starts, and I'll forget. So I'm going to go with Harris because of the floor, and I'm going to go with. I'm going to do something different here. I'm actually going to go with Schultz. I think that Schultz is going to be the good kind of should have a nice floor for the tight end position coming up against this Vikings offense that should just pummel Dallas.
Yeah, I would go with Harris for sure. And then, yeah, I'll go with Dalton Schultz. I wrote about him this week, too. I think he has, of all of those guys in Dallas that we've been worried about, their floors just dropping, Dalton Schultz really hasn't. I mean, he's still been getting targets. He's been getting 4-8, last 3 games, 4 against Washington and then 8 and 7 again. So what you want from a tight end in that spot is you want just a stable floor, and Dalton Schultz has it. And it's really funny. You're looking at all those guys like Amari Cooper and, CeeDee Lamb and guys like that the floor is bottomed out and dropped out. But here's Dalton Schultz still chugging away.
Here he is.
Yeah. Let's see here. Kalen Balazs, JD McKissick, or Gio Bernard for wide receiver 3 in standard. And this is more of a discussion than I thought it would be. And I think it's between Balazs and McKissick.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with McKissick for the floor just because we saw him get a touchdown. We've seen him just have this amazing pass catching receptions for. I like all 3 of them, and it would be McKissick, Balazs, then Bernard for me in that order.
Yeah, I have McKissick over.
It's standard. I like Balazs more. Sorry, it's standard. Sorry, Axel.
Okay, yeah, standard. Yeah, it's Kalen Balazs for me. Gets the Jets. I mean, he should get a lot of opportunity. He should get 20 carries, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't see why he wouldn't. But remember, I did say also that I think this could be the one game the Jets win. So I'm going to stand with that. I don't think they have a chance in any other game. I mean, their schedule's, not brutal, but it's not great either. So if there was going to be a game where the Chargers decide they want to be the Chargers, it's this game.
Yeah.
Axel back in with Cooper Kupp, DJ Chark, or T Higgins for wide receiver 3. This ain't a competition for me. What about you, Gary?
No, we're on the same page. Just give me T Higgins.
T Higgins, high T Higgins for the win. My wide receiver 7 of the week, and I did write about him as well. It's a tougher matchup, but I think volume's going to play out. Joe Burrow has not been he hasn't been an efficient quarterback, as at least he's been a volume guy. So I think just heavy volume. Yeah, he's probably going to be up against Kendall Fuller, but I think T Higgins is he's just on such a high trajectory right now. With his targets and with his spot in the offense, I think him and Boyd are in a good spot today. I think Burrow gets over 300. I think Higgins is going to be a big part of that. I think it's like that game's going to be, I shouldn't say back and forth, but I think it's going to be higher pace than people expect out of the Bengals and football team.
Don't sleep on Alex Smith, man. The dude threw for over 350 last week. He just happened to not get the touchdowns. McKissick ran one in and Gibson ran in 2. Like that variance is going to come back towards Alex Smith this week, I think. And Teddy McLaurin, Logan Thomas, JD McKissick, and Gibson all could catch touchdowns. Real quick before the next question. So Teddy is officially out. Stafford is in. Kenny Stills is in. Who cares? But Laramie Tunsil's out, so that'll be interesting to see if that has an impact on Watson. Minshew is out, and then Harrison's in. Sony is out. And who is the other one? Oh, it doesn't matter. But there are, Marshawn Lattimore is out for New Orleans. So I'm curious to see if that, to me, that's just fire up Julio and Ridley and Ryan and just stack the shit out of that.
Yeah, that's juicy. I think that's going to be the highest scoring game of the day. So I honestly think Jameis Winston's going to find his way onto the field, despite what people are saying. I don't think it's going to be it's not going to be the whole game Taysom Hill. You're not going to be running Wildcat all game, and he's not going to be throwing 20, 25 passes. I think you're going to see Winston in there quite a bit. I understand playing close to the vest. You don't want to give everything away. I just think it's almost writings on the wall with Taysom Hill. Knowing what you have, knowing how he's going to be used, I don't think he's going to be that guy for all 60 minutes of that game.
Yep.
I
don't worry about that.
Is that inside joke?
It's an inside joke.
Yeah, I hope to be a part of one someday. Kayvon here. Also fightingchancefantasy.com. Go check out the website right now. Well, maybe not right now. Maybe in like 20 minutes or so when we're done. AJ Brown or Jacoby Myers, standard league, no PPR.
AJ Brown? Is it weird that that's like kind of a debate?
It's not a debate.
I think it's AJ Brown. You're gonna go with Jacoby?
Yes, sir. I think that's where we're at right now. And I'm looking at other platforms that, are ranking these guys and are talking about these guys. And like some of these still have Jacoby Myers as a barely startable guy. And just the metrics are speaking a different language than a lot of these. I mean, granted, he is the only guy in that passing game that you can trust right now. I mean, you can't even trust James White in that offense, but something needs to be said about just the stats he is putting up and the targets he's getting and the air yard share. They could really use another receiver to take some pressure off. And I think that's maybe if Edelman comes back, he's eligible, but I think he's still a couple weeks away. To where that may not even matter, and they might just end his season. But they really need like a Demir Bird to step up, or a Chef, or a N'Keal Harry when he comes back. But for right now, I think Jacoby Myers is still a heavy volume wide receiver 2, a low end wide receiver 2 right now, and he's still trending upwards. So I like him over AJ Brown in a tough matchup against Baltimore.
Yep.
Right. Axel Jansen here. Kalen Balazs or James Conner for RB3. How the mighty have fallen.
No, I still think it's Conner.
And on standard. Oh man,
I think this is a getting too cute situation.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look.
Like Josh Kelly is still getting touches there. Is Tremaine Pope out? I assume so, but I don't know for sure.
He does. He's not going to factor in, though. That's the thing. And Joshua Kelly, that he's fallen out of favor.
Why wouldn't he factor in? Tremaine Pope got a ton of touches. He just didn't play last week.
Not for fan. I mean, I don't think he's going to be fantasy relevant. He's going to factor in, but I don't think he's
siphoning off touches.
I think Balaj is still a lock for 20 touches. James Conner's last 3 matchups against Baltimore and then 2 good spots at Dallas and Cincinnati. He doesn't have anything over 47 rushing yards. If we're looking at standard, I would put Jacksonville in that Cincinnati, Dallas kind of environment as far as rushing defenses. I mean, you're expecting maybe 50 yards and hopes he gets into the end zone. That's 11 points there. I think Balaj in a game against the Jets where you got to figure it's going to be some easy opportunity there for red zone work. I mean, for all we know, Connor could run 120 and 2 touchdowns, but what's the odds of that based on his last few weeks and the way the Steelers offense is operating?
Axel, consider a split. So pick who you prefer and like more out of both of us.
Basically, he's saying
your favorite and then tell us.
Yeah, he's like, leave it up to you. I know you asked us, but damn. Let's go to his kicker question, though. Jason Sanders, Nick Folk, or Fairbairn? Folk I think he should play. I think he was questionable, actually. But it's not a choice for me. It's Jason Sanders all day long.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Yeah. So I've got some more questions if you're...
let's do it.
Want me to fire them off here. It's funny because we just talked about these guys, but we haven't had them in the same question. Flex spot, Kalen Balaj or Jacoby Myers? PPR.
I don't know, man. Kalen Balaj, I think. I don't know. I tend to default to running backs.
Yeah, I would probably go with Balaj here too. In a PPR flex, I mean, Balaj is going to get a lot of that, but I don't know.
Does Nikhil being back worry you at all that's going to get some targets away from Jacoby? And like Damian Harris is going to be playing. I can't remember if he played last week, actually.
I think it relieves some of the pressure off of Myers, but I'm a little worried that they would kind of give a lot of that work to N'Keal Harry too. Yeah. But I think just the way he's gone, I think Bill Belichick would be crazy to go away from Myers considering what he's done the last few weeks here. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I've got some questions here actually let me take a look. I've got a couple questions here through Twitter, so I'm going to sort through those here.
While you're doing that, Axel has a question here for Juszczyk, Ogunbowale, or Deontay Foreman. And well, Juszczyk's on a bye. And so Ogunbowale or Foreman. I don't think Chris Thompson's playing this week.
No, he's on IR.
Yeah, so I actually, and I don't know if Devin, I don't even know what his last name is right now. The other running back there that's not James Robinson is playing. So Divine Zigbo. There we go. I actually think I'm going to go with Ogunbowale here and see, just kind of, you're really throwing up a Hail Mary. Deontay Foreman had like that one random touchdown. So I don't know.
I'd probably go with him, honestly. I mean, I don't know how many snaps obviously I'm a Packer fan. I watched that game last week. I only saw him in on maybe a handful of snaps. So I think Deontay Foreman has been getting in a little bit more as a spell. They'll probably have about the same touches, but those random touchdowns, man, it's Deontay Foreman got one of them. He's looked a lot better. We know this is somebody that has been on the radar the last couple of years from when he was in Houston. So, is this a guy where, maybe he's going to integrate a little more and take a little pressure off of the big dog? Who knows? Yeah. But running back 3, as deep as it is, Juszczyk's, I think you got to go with Deontay Foreman.
Okay.
Well, here, you got to... any more questions? Because I'm pulling that up right now. I actually went off the screen. So, hold on. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. Devontae Parker or Adrian Peterson for a PPR flex.
AP. I'm actually kind of high on AP today. I think he's going to have a good game.
Yeah, I would go with the same here. I'm just not super sold on the Miami passing game right now with Tua. I think that's more of a, he's still getting a feel for things. But if he's going to target anybody right now in this passing game, it's going to be Devontae Parker. So I would still go with AP. I think his floor is pretty high today with DeAndre Swift out and not worried about Kerryon Johnson siphoning too much away in the PPR game. So let me take a look here. I have another question for you here. Pick one: Nyheim Hines, Damian Harris, Ronald Jones.
Probably Rojo. Man, that's a tough one. I think Ronald Jones. I think he has the highest touchdown upside, and we obviously saw, 98-yard touchdown. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Rojo.
Yeah, I would stick with Rojo here too, but it's tough. It's a toss-up between those two for me as far as him and Damian Harris here. Let's take we got a couple more in the chat here, Axel. Zacchaeus, Jamal Agnew, Isaiah Wright for wide receiver 4 in PPR. Geez, if it's return yardage, it's Jamal Agnew all day.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Kevin answer these ones. Jamal Agnew, I guess I'm just probably just go with him if you do get any of that. And if nothing less, like who the hell else are they throwing to? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Detroit dart throw. I mean, Marvin Jones and Marvin Hall, both Marvins.
I have a personal question for you. In a half point, would you go Fuller or would you go with Jacoby?
I mean, is Gilmore?
I have AJ Brown and Julio going.
Depends on if Gilmore is active in that game.
He is active.
He is active. He's probably going to be on Fuller, I would guess. I mean, he could probably swing both ways. Heyo. Him or Cooks, but
did you have Jacoby at 15?
Yeah, man. My love knows no bounds. He's a borderline wide receiver 1 for me. I'd probably go with, you said it was versus Jacoby, right?
Yeah, Jacoby versus Fuller.
Yeah, I think I'd take Jacoby there.
Let's do it.
I think what do I have Fuller ranked? I have Fuller ranked a little bit higher, I think. No, I got him at 23. Okay.
Yeah, he's low.
Yeah, so I got Gilmore baked into that.
Heyo.
Yeah. Fredstone, Flint, happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend. We will be back. Yeah, we'll actually be a little programming note for you. We'll be on Tuesday instead of Wednesday for Thanksgiving for Fighting Chance Live with Troy King of Ball Blast. So that'll be a fun show. So check that out. We will make sure we put some stuff on the twitter.com. Appreciate you, Fred Stone, for checking us out and asking some questions. Axel, like clockwork, man. As soon as I said, I've got a couple more questions to ask you, and then he chimes in here. Tyler Higbee, Anthony Ferkser, Tyler Eifert for tight end 2.
Higbee.
Yeah, as much of an offensive tackle as Tyler Higbee's been, I'd still roll him over Eifert and Ferkser.
Yep.
I don't think that's much of a debate. Packers D or Colts D today? They're both playing each other.
That is a tough one. I don't want to say Colts D because I don't know. I go with, I don't like either. If I had to choose one, I will go with the Colts D, but I don't like either.
Yeah, I would go with the Colts too. I'm gonna take a look. Actually, okay, yeah, they're where I thought they would be, right back against each other at 14 and 15. So I mean, that's pretty much a coin flip for me. I'm surprised we haven't gotten more questions about this guy, and I'll ask this here in a flex: Salvon Ahmed, Jerry Jeudy, or Michael Pittman in a flex.
Ahmed one's tough, yeah, because of Breida coming back. Like, what's his workload going to be? But the fact that they released Jordan Howard really made me think that they were like, we're good. And Breida is Mr. Glass, always just injured. So, Jeudy against those corners, it would lock, no thanks, and Pittman against Jair. I'm gonna go with Ahmed, or I'm just gonna go with Ahmed.
Yeah, I think you go Ahmed there too, especially with Jair on Pittman, and either Byron Jones or Xavier Howard on Judy. The one thing I want to know how they're going to go about that with Myles Gaskin coming back. I want to see how that's going to shape up. Granted, that Miami's really gone with one back and hasn't split a lot. That's why we haven't seen a lot of Matt Breida, and that's why. At least I'm more confident in Ahmed, even though Breida is playing, because Breida would maybe siphon off 4 or 5 touches, if that, on Ahmed. They give one guy the rock and just let him go.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Yeah, that's why I'm in on Ahmed, but it's really going to be interesting to see what they do when Gaskin comes off of IR. Jalen Reagor or Gio Bernard in the flex? I go Gio here because of the weather.
Yeah, Gio.
Yeah, it's tough, especially with that weather. I mean, that's going to put a damper on a lot of things, except for that run game, my man.
Yep.
Cam Newton or Matt Stafford?
I'm going with Cam because I'm nervous about Stafford's thumb.
Yeah, I am too. Plus Cam, I mean, touchdown regression out of the passing game has to come soon here, don't you think? I mean, he's only thrown for 3 touchdowns on the year. He's got to. I mean, he's done a lot with his legs. He has 6 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns right now, and 7 interceptions. I mean, Cam Newton, we have to see it out of the passing game at some point. It's just
agreed.
Law of averages here.
Yep.
Let's see here. Amari Cooper or Tyler Boyd?
Cooper. I think it has to be Cooper.
Yeah, Vikings defense has played a lot better lately, though. That's the thing. And I think Dalton will be back as well. And we talked about this and about how much that really matters. Yeah. I mean, it's how the mighty have fallen. I mean, we're how many weeks now without Dak Prescott, and it's just such a cluster with all these Dallas wide receivers that we're expecting everything from. I mean, looking at Amari Cooper, I'd probably take Boyd over that. I just think he's much safer play. Cooper is just so high variance right now.
Yeah.
And then let me take a look here. Last one. I got a couple here. Axel with Washington, Cowboys, or Lions for DST2. I'm going with Washington.
Yeah, I think that they'll at least get the picks. The Lions, if you want to just try and throw a Hail Mary at something, I would not play the Cowboys.
Yeah, but I think the Vikings are going to pass all over the Cowboys and pretty much take that out of the game. Lions, I mean, at Carolina, it's intriguing, but I'd feel a lot better playing Washington. Yeah, you're going to give up some yards and some points against the Bengals, but I think you're still going to get some sack totals. I think you're still going to get an interception or 2 there. I think they're certainly the highest upside of those 3 picks there.
Yeah.
Last one here from Kayvon with Lattimore out, Matt Ryan or Lamar Jackson.
Matt Ryan. I mean, when has Lamar outproduced Matt Ryan like this season? I obviously don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it just didn't. Lamar seems to have just been bad. I did say it's a get right game, but I also think you get Ridley back and no Lattimore. So
yeah, I think just the environment is too enticing for Matt Ryan. You can't ignore him today. I think. Yeah. I mean, that's been the theme of today is how the mighty have fallen with Lamar Jackson. This time last year, he was the MVP and he was a runaway train. And now defenses have figured out him and Greg Roman, and now Lamar Jackson is a barely wide quarterback 1 right now.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
Yeah, but you're still starting him for the upside. I mean, one of these weeks, even as not 2019 Lamar as he's been, he still has the upside to just win you a week. So I think if you don't have anything close to another option, you just gotta ride him at this point.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Kayvon, for asking those questions. Again, fightingchancefantasy.com. Check everything out there. Lamar Jackson or Justin Herbert from Axel?
Justin Herbert.
Gotta go with Herbert.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen, well, that's the thing too, is we want to anoint these matchups, especially if they're going up against the Jets, where, and I'm totally guilty of this 100%, where I want to be like, okay, they're going to be running the ball in the second half and assault it away. I mean, these are NFL teams. So and maybe I don't take this into account as much as I should, but look at the Chiefs and the Jets, where this was just, I think it was almost a 3-touchdown, line. So he still threw for 5 touchdowns and threw for almost 400 yards. So Justin Herbert, I think he's still going to have a great stat line. I think he's a locked in top 6 guy at the position.
I've just final question.
Yo,
if in your lineups, as I'm sure I'll be doing more, you finish and you've saved money to have either AK or Cook, who do you put in? Let's say you have 9,200 to get either one.
Let's say 9,200.
Well, I mean, so AK is 92 and Cook is and Dalvin's 9,000. So that's why I'm just saying, like, if you had to pick one, who would it be? I keep flip flopping.
Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
both are good choices. I don't know. I can't get off of Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
It's so hard to. I mean, yeah, you're not. There's no wrong. I mean, there is a wrong decision. You will find out in an hour or a couple hours.
Right.
But I mean, between those two, it's like steak or lobster. So
yeah. Well,
all
thanks,
right,
man. This was great as always.
As always, fantastic. If you have more questions, send them on over to us at K Tompkins II at Gary Haddow 1. It is 11:03 Central Time, so that means it's noon Eastern. So get those lineups in. Check out fightingchancefantasy.com. There's all sorts of great material there from myself. Check out our podcast, Fighting Chance Live, on Apple, on Google, on Spotify, on any platform that you get your podcasts on. So much great content, rankings, Survivor, you name it. It's all there. Start, sit, sleepers. Check it all out. We will be back on Tuesday with Fighting Chance Live with Troy King. For Gary, I am Kevin Tompkins. We're both at fightingchancefantasy.com. Have a great week 11.
See you guys.